What is going on, everyone? This is Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. I'm also Director of Research at LeDuc Trading. It is January 13th, 2021. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content, and I will continue to make it for you. Today we're going to be talking about the price action, the indices. We'll go under the hood and check out the sectors and style factors, some of the trades I took and trades that I'm in. I have 2 trades on right now that are going absolutely bonkers. And then we'll wrap up some options order flow. But before we jump in, quick risk disclaimer, nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan and your own risk parameters. And last but not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any one of my trades. So let's jump right in here. So we have the S&P 500, and you can see, we had a really nice run after that Georgia Senate runoff. Really nice push up, and now we've sort of been consolidating sideways for a few trading days. The S&P 500 ended up 0.27% to the upside. QQQ, big tech up 0.68%. We had the IWM small caps down 0.71%, and we had the Dow Jones down 0.04%. You can see S&P 500, as I said earlier, moving sideways, still above the 5-day EMA, still above all other moving averages and above the monthly value area. So nothing bearish about what we're seeing here. And if we look at the Qs, we actually had a rotation back into the Qs today. So some of these mega cap tech names that everyone has been piling out of, finally caught some bids today. And you can see price action has been a little bit sloppier over here. But yeah, really nice day, up 0.68% for the Qs. One thing that I find so interesting is that, I looked at the year-to-date performance of SPY today, and I saw it's up like 1.5% or 1.3%, I forget. But you're really missing the story if you're just looking at the headline indices. Like, there is so much going on under the hood, and so many individual securities and even sector ETFs that are just moving way more than these headline indices. You can see the Russell down 0.71%. I put a hedge on for the Russell yesterday for IWM. So it's nice to see that, for once the IWM is underperforming. But you can see IWM is still in a very bullish trend, above all those short-term moving averages and still pretty extended, even from the 5-day EMA. So nothing bearish about what we're seeing here either. I just have, happen to have a hedge on. And then the Dow Jones, pretty much the nothing burger index, still consolidating sideways. We're not seeing anything too negative on this front either. Still looking pretty good. So let's dive in. We're going to go under the hood now. We'll check out the sectors and style factors. And you'll see my favorite, the cannabis sector ETF, has moved into our #1 slot in terms of momentum. And I am still holding on the books I believe I had like 11 or 12 strike calls in this ETF that I purchased months and months ago. And I post them on Twitter. Those have gone up. Now they're like 5x. And I'm not selling them. At some point, I'm going to have to think about like rolling them out in time. But, cannabis, crypto, clean energy, those are all really nice trends right now. And I just don't see any reason to jump out of those yet. So we had cannabis doing really well. Solar energy down 1.01%. I actually want to start taking a look into some of these solar companies to potentially buy some. Like, I invested in Enphase a couple weeks ago. I had a really nice entry on that. Now that this sector is getting a little bit more quiet, now I want to see if I can sneak into maybe another high-performing name in that space. Let's see. We had these ARK funds putting on pretty good performances. GDX has fallen from grace once again, down 1.11%, but a lot of movers today. And then we had, for our style factors, you can see the cyclicals and high beta took a bit of a hit today, although they are still in the #1 and 2 slots. And then the spaces that did a little bit better were momentum and growth. You can see the others, were pretty much either flat or just not really all that much going on this front. But yeah, it looks like a little bit of a give back from some of those really hot areas. Let's take a look. If we check out TAN, I alluded to earlier in terms of maybe this is a decent time to get an entry. Oh, you can see TAN actually closed below the 5-day EMA for the first time in quite a while. So I'm interested to see, if we get a nice pullback to the 20-day, I would love that, for an entry. So I'll have to see. Who knows? Maybe we'll get it. But what's interesting is this pullback is coming on decelerating volume, which I love. So I'm going to be on high alert. And one thing I'm working on for 2021 is when an area is looking really good and really strong as a trend for the entire year, I have to act on the pullbacks. I can't wait until the stock or the index is like super extended and then FOMO. And I'm proud to say I'm doing a much better job of that already this year. But I just want to keep pounding it, ingraining it into my mind. The opportunities, they don't come around that often for these like super strong sectors, super strong companies. So when they present themselves and I've done the homework, I need to just act on it. So we'll see in terms of, some trades, some things that I'm watching. I alluded to earlier, like 2 of the trades that I'm in are going crazy. This Dragonfly that I entered is going bonkers. And take a look. So I talked about putting this on, a couple days ago in my video. And Dragonfly, look at this, man. The volume coming into this is pretty unreal. So if you look, like, this Dragonfly stock has been dead money for a long time. And not really, much in terms of volume coming in. It's always traded around like 50 cents. And this is, the prior high. Yeah, prior high at $1.40 back in, when is this? Yeah, in 2019. Now, if you look at the volume that's coming in, so this was super high volume. This was, it looks like about, like 1 million shares traded, a little over 1 million. Another high volume spike over here. And now what we're seeing here is more volume coming in. And this, was 7 million. So this is a totally different ball game. Yeah, so this is pretty crazy what we're seeing here. And if you take a look, I'm actually going to do way more homework on Dragonfly tonight because I'm just seeing this stock behaving a little bit differently. And I see Dragonfly begins process to list on NASDAQ. And if they get off like the penny sheets and move on to NASDAQ, that means there's going to be a much larger pool of potential investors that can now put capital to work in this name. So that has me super excited. And then they also presented at this consumer electronics show today. They presented at 1:30, so I got to watch that presentation today. They were joined by Derek Anderson, CEO of Stamina Inc., author, philanthropist, NCAA and NBA champion. And then they were also accompanied by Jack Chow, former U.S. ambassador and assistant director general of the World Health Organization. So it seems like some of the players involved are pretty legit. I know they've gotten some board members that are pretty legit for Dragonfly as well. So really what I want to determine is like, one of the key tests for me today was, okay, I know they're doing this conference. Is this just going to be a little penny stock pump and dump where, they buy it ahead of the conference and then sell it right after, just for like a quick buck? But I see we close very close to the highs. So what I need to find out tonight is this something I just want to like have on for a little trade and, just leave it at that? Or am I potentially sitting in like a 10 bagger, 100 bagger stock that I really want to just like let it go or even add to it tomorrow? So that's going to be the homework I'm doing tonight. And then Plug as well, another name that I jumped into. The crazy run just continues. And I've talked about this one in a couple of videos, so I'm not going to just keep beating the dead horse. But it looks like there might have been some sellers today with this crazy like exhaustive volume. So I might be moving my stops up in Plug. Then another one, I added some exposure to Apps, which is a company, that I'm super bullish on fundamentally for the long term. on this breakout here. So I do have, like a long-term position that I established, back when the company was trading at around 40 bucks. And I added to my position today. Apps, and then laser is one that I just day traded today. This one was a pretty good day trade. I bought in on the break of this point of control. I got some February 30 strike calls, and I was able to dish them off for a nice 20% gain. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, that was a quick little trade, and just one of those it's almost like a morale booster. I'm not really a day trader, so if I can snag a nice day trade, that's awesome for me. DraftKings, I took a target in my swing position today. I talked about this, a couple videos ago where I went big on DraftKings and added 2 tranches of calls, and I just took one of those tranches off. But DraftKings looks, to be honest, you guys know I'm super bullish on DraftKings long term. I keep my core commons, and I have swing calls on right now for May. I really think that at some point we're just going to get an explosive bar for DraftKings. And all of a sudden we're going to get that explosive bar that brings us to maybe 60 bucks a share. And then suddenly a lot of different players that have not been looking at DraftKings, because DraftKings has been a very tricky stock to trade. There's been a lot of chop sideways. We had a pretty big collapse right here. But I think once we get that, explosive bar up, I think a lot of people will become interested in DraftKings again. So I'm super excited about this one. But I did take a target, just for prudence in my, pretty oversized swing. How about does it for, the highlights on my trading today? Let's take a quick look at some options order flow. And the first one, just speaking of DraftKings, I am finally starting to see large call flow in DraftKings coming in. Very small, but it's starting to come. I haven't seen that in months. So you can see there's, I believe, one DraftKings order. Yeah, right here. For January 15th to 55 strike calls. It looks like somebody's just trying to take delivery of the stock. Or who knows, maybe they are doing a quick flip on that. I don't know, but yeah, it looks like maybe they're just trying to establish a core position. I will be posting my affiliate link for Cheddarflow in the description of this video. If you're interested in a free 7-day trial, feel free to click that. Let's see, even more calls for plug coming in. We already talked about plug. This is one that I find very interesting, team. We have a bunch of calls coming in for UVXY, which is essentially a long volatility play. And these calls are being purchased. There were some March calls with a 7 strike, and then some June calls with the 5 strike. And these came in around 3:20, so towards the end of the day. Let's see what UVXY is doing. And UVXY is pretty much on the death march lower over here, as you can see. And they bought, I believe, it was the 7 strike call. So it looks like they're betting on some sort of increase in volatility. These products, they have that decay component to them. So I try to avoid them wherever I can. When I want to play long volatility, usually I'll just buy a put option on one of the indices. So that's what I did yesterday, where I bought the IWM put. But yeah, it looks like someone is betting on a little volatility spike. I saw some activity. This is, a call for Vuzi. And I went over this earlier with Leduc trading members. This stock Vuzi, I have no idea if this company is even legit or not, or what they're doing. But they essentially do augmented reality glasses. So you put the glasses on, and if you're a warehouse worker or a construction worker, you get a little bit more insight or can see certain things. I went on their website to look at the product. I just couldn't even wrap my head around it, but the stock is on a crazy tear here. So there's something there. I mean, I didn't take like a deep dive into it, but at first glance, I was like, what the heck's going on here? So we'll have to see. But yeah, Vuzi order came in with some size. Now I see Apple, we have a mix, of some calls and some puts. PayPal, we have a March player. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, Apple still just kind of like straddling that 20-day. I'm sure it's going to make its move at some point. Uber, we had a big order. Yeah, Uber's looking pretty nice here. Pretty extended though, like I wouldn't take an entry there. Now let's see PayPal. Yeah, PayPal, nice move to the upside, tagging that upper Bollinger Band. One that we got a request from my boy Trev earlier today to take a look at Baba. So let's do that. So Baba, in my opinion, does look pretty interesting here. And Trev made like 150% on some call options. So that is awesome. Keep it up, Trev. Trev is the most improved player from 2020. He's doing a really good job. One of my favorite people to interact with on Twitter. So what I'm seeing in Alibaba is it's not the strongest asset. Like given the controversy, with the CEO, Jack Ma, I believe he's the chairman now, I forget. Yeah, there's some controversy with the CCP and Jack Ma, and it caused this thing to pretty much go into a tailspin. Now we are putting in another low base right here. But what I think is pretty cool is you have a nice level to trade against. So the monthly value area low in Alibaba is, this 230.8 level. So if you wanted to establish a long position and say you're like, what, I want to own this for the long term, you could, establish your position and maybe trade against this 230.8 level, like stop out if we go below that again. Or you could even, trade against this prior swing low right here. Like say like, what, I'm setting my stop at like 220. So I would definitely say, given that we're putting in this low base, who knows? You could be like, I'm going to target the point of control here at 263 and I'll stop out, right here at 220, which is pretty good risk to reward. But I will note the rally in this name stopped right at the 20-day simple moving average. Yeah, so when an asset is super strong, we would love to see it get above that 20-day simple moving average. But yeah, I think you could definitely take a trade in this one. And you would have good risk to reward given where, the levels that it's trading at right now. So that's kind of like my 2 cents on Alibaba. But that about does it for this market recap video. Hope you guys all have a great night. I have some more homework to do on this Dragonfly as I was talking about. But I will see you all tomorrow.